Station 111, please respond for a semi-truck on fire. This is at Ryan Road. Again, Ryan Road for a semi-truck on fire.
Dispatch 111, copy.
I started out as a grunt, just an ordinary firefighter, and over time, and I took as much training as the municipality offered at that time, although training in the early years was very difficult to obtain because there just wasn't a system for training for rural firefighters that exists today. And as a result, it took years to go through the initial firefighter training program to become a professional firefighter, which is an NFPA program called 1001. It comes in two levels, 1001 Level 1, 1001 Level 2. It takes a number of years. Now, the system has developed and the county has developed that we do that locally. In fact, we're doing it at this station as we speak.
I was probably 3 years before I took my 1001 course. The guys now, they try and get them in within their first year. And that was not the way when I started. There was not as much hiring, there wasn't as many guys coming through. Like the last class that came through here, I believe there's 8 or 9 new guys that they're gonna ship through on 1001s. Well, when I got hired on, 2 guys were here. That was it. There was only 2 new guys.
My name is Dylan Alaric, and I'm a volunteer firefighter here at Langdon Station 111. I'm a probationary firefighter at the moment. I'm fresh, I'm still learning. I have a big blue P on the back of my helmet. Blue P, it just means I'm on probation still, so people on fire scenes know that I'm fairly new and not to rely on me too much quite yet, I don't think, but just constantly learning as much as I can. It's an overload of information definitely at the beginning, I think. Well, this is the first day of our training for my 1001's Level 1. And then we'll have that. If I pass everything here and we do our practical, I pass that, I pass the theoretical test, and then we'll go on to the Level 2s. And then after that's a hazmat, and then I'm a certified, technically professional firefighter, so.
We're expected to put out fires. We're also expected to do rescue at certain levels, medical service.
People can fail. I'd say there's not a very high failure rate. You know, the goal with our training is to make people succeed. You know, we try very hard to have people be successful, support them as much as we can, but it's not a cakewalk by any means.
It's an extensive program. The basics are in this manual that you see here. And it's hugely involved, takes a major commitment from each student that involves self-study, classroom study, and practical application. So once our successful candidates have passed through the system, they get their certificates, they're considered professional firefighters and can go to any jurisdiction in North America if that's what they choose. And we do our best to explain to everybody so it's not a big surprise when the 1001 level program starts that it is a big commitment, and it takes us basically the most part of a year to put the students through that. And they have to be recertified every 3 years.
There's a whole lot of skills. Really, the weekend training that's going on now and will for the next many weeks, it's all about the practical skills training. That's what we're focusing on.
Okay, I have one side of the water nut. Can we do it without our gloves on?
You got to use your sense of feel, right?
But I got these huge gloves on.
Do a certain amount of work ahead of time. When we come together on the weekends now, we're basically trying to make sure the students have those skills down, refine them, make sure they're doing it correctly, because ultimately they're going to be tested on that through an evaluation process. There's also written tests that they will have to do and pass. So it's a lot of work. It's not extremely difficult, but you have to be focused and attentive and making sure you're putting in the effort.
Our program is set up that we do everything here. We have our props that we have for various functions that are all listed in this manual, and they're extensive. We're a totally self-contained station to present the 1001 program. Our instructors are certified with the province. The proctors who will ultimately monitor the exams, whether it's a written exam or a practical exam, are certified with the province. So everything that we're doing is totally certified.
And so there's formal types of courses, one of which is going on today upstairs. Those are the courses that we're coordinating across the stations. They're larger efforts. There's often firefighters from different stations that need this training. So we try to train together as much as we can. But basically, we had to put these courses together to get our newest members trained in the basics of firefighters to become professional firefighters.
Well, from basic to complex, we do first aid, we do live fire entry, interior firefighting, ladder work, rope rescue work, driving is part of it, pumping is part of it, vehicle extrication is part of it, building construction is part of it, knowing how buildings are built. We're all first responders. If you're a firefighter, you're part of a general first responder group. And you could be going to anything, but generally first responders are, in the community's eyes, are the people that go to a medical call. Now, in our particular case, our level of service mandates standard first aid. So we're really only mandated to deliver standard first aid, which is what we do. Now, we've maybe taken it to a slightly higher level in that we can monitor readings such as blood pressure and oxygen stats and heart rate and so on, which of course we have some basic stats on the patient.
I do a lot of medical stuff, so I do a lot of the medical training in the station. I feel there's a big value to medical calls. For some, it might be less exciting than a structure fire or a car accident, but for me, I kind of think of my family being at home and having a medical emergency, and so I've been kind of passionate about it. Like I have my EMR certificate. I do a lot of extracurricular courses online and stuff like that, and I train all the new guys that come in. I train them through their basic medical response. you know, not so much the skills as, you know, how you, empathies, how you got to act, the different roles that come along with medical stuff. You know, there's helpers and there's primaries and there's different roles for everybody when you get to a medical.
We have what we call the Firefighter 101 program. So as soon as they're hired, they start the Firefighter 101 program, and it's a mini 1001 program. We do show them how to wear SCBA initially. We describe all that. We describe ladders and how to get in a truck and how to get out of a truck. We already know they have first aid because they have to have that before they can even get into the program.
Well, we started in 2021, April 2021, because we were the last group that started. And in between April and December 31st, I believe I did 188 calls last year. When they started us, they did a lot of in-house training just to show us the basics. Put on gear, SCBA, ladders, ropes, knots, that kind of stuff. It's kind of the introductory level to the 1001s that we're doing currently. Right. And honestly, it's beneficial, 100%. If it's a structure fire, we're not on the first truck. There is the rare occasion where you do get on the first truck, and then when you get on scene, usually you stand aside and wait for your direction of what you're supposed to do. So whether it's fetching tools, rolling hoses, you know, a little bit of decon.
Then they can start going on calls. Now what we call the Firefighter 101 program takes about 8 weeks or so for firefighters to get through. Some of it are evening drills, some are weekend drills. Then they can start coming to our regular training drills, which we schedule, and start participating in the drills that are scheduled for that night. They can't get in a truck until they've gone through the basic training. So it's very important that we do it the way we're trained to do it, and the training does automatically kick in when these functions are required. From very simple to complex, they learn how to actually remove the ladder from the truck, carry the ladder to wherever it's going to be deployed. They learn how to deploy the ladder. They learn how to climb the ladder, either to take tools up or to have tools brought to them if they're on a roof. For as an example, they learn how to enter a building, do a rescue of somebody, bring a person back down the ladder. Now we use mannequins for that, for obvious safety reasons. They learn how to take the ladder down, they learn how to take the ladder back to the truck, and they learn how to put the ladder back on the truck. It's a very important function of being a 1001 firefighter. You're trained to do a certain or perform a certain level of service, so the training automatically kicks in, and you don't really have to think about, oh, I forget how to get this ladder off this truck, or we can't remember how to carry it, or we're clumsy when we're carrying it.
As far as the timeline, when I joined, I think I was active in July of, I can't even remember, 2018 on this department. And I think it took a year to get my 1001 level 1. I think roughly July, August of the next year, I was level 1. And then kind of COVID hit and messed with all the training programs. So I actually didn't get my level 2 until the end of 2021. There's a written and practical. So at the end of every course, I think it's called TAMA now. It used to be the fire commissioner's office. Sends a test, like a written test that you need to score, I think 70 or higher on, and a practical test. It's they randomly pick so many skills that you learned over the course of your training.
When will we use water extinguisher? What type of fire? Excellent. Thank you very much. Class A fires. That's correct.
And they'll have a proctor there to actually sign off saying yes, they did it properly. I definitely have known a couple people to have failed that. It's not an easy test. I don't know if you've looked at the 1001 book, but it's, you know, it's about that big. It's a lot to take in 8 weeks or so. As long as you have good instructors, it's quite difficult to fail if you're there to actually learn and do it the right way. Because the thing is they don't want to just pass you, because if you don't know the skills, it's not safe. So they're not just there to get you through the class, they're there to make sure that when you're actually doing it in real life, you're not going to hurt yourself or someone else. It's going to be them that are going to be on the fire scene with them, so obviously they want them to be the best they can be so that, you know, they contribute to the department. Knowledge and experiences really helps ease any sort of fears or anxiety. If you do enough training, you can kind of limit the amount of fear you have because you know what you're capable of.
We just want to reinforce that it's a major undertaking, not to be taken lightly. And the students, pretty much in general, we have really only once that I can recall lost a student because the program was just more than they were able to cope with, or really didn't quite grasp what was involved in it. So after that happened, we changed our interview process, and we make sure during the interview process that we spend time on certain items. One is this particular program here, and we show the students this book, this is what's involved, you have to learn this system. So it's not to be taken lightly, it's a huge undertaking.
Just before COVID, I believe, hit, that I made the rank of lieutenant. I took FOTP 500, Field Officers Training Program, the 500 level course, and there's some other courses that you have to take just to work yourself up through the ranks. It's all been offered through the county. They're really good with the volunteer guys to get us our courses where it doesn't cost us money out of pocket. So I've taken lots of courses through the county. They've been really good, really supportive. All the officers group here, really supportive about trying to promote people from within. The officers group will approach the people that they think are best suited to be an officer. Lieutenant is the bottom of the officers group, then captains, then assistant station chief, and then station chief. I started working my way up through the ranks because the officers group saw something that they thought might help me continue on my career. There's always more stuff you can learn. I think if you're at the point in your career where you think you know it all, maybe it's time to pack it in. Every time we go on a different course, a call, you learn something new every time. Nothing is ever the same. Training is never ending as far as I'm concerned. There's always something we could do better. There's always something more to learn. I think once you get those courses, that's your license to learn more, because it puts you in different situations. So you can't expect someone who doesn't have those courses to be able to make decisions at that level. But in the flip side of the coin is you can't make those decisions till you have those courses. And then the officers group has to have enough trust in you to put you in a situation where you get to make the decisions that affect outcomes. On calls, they do a lot in training. They try and put you in situations where, and in training, the outcome never ends badly, right? Because no one ever gets hurt, no one. So it's almost like a real life situation without the possibility of a bad outcome.
Everything revolves around safety. Safety of the firefighter is first. Safety of our customers, which is whoever lives in the house or the structure or whatnot, is second. Safety for the building or the structure that we're looking at is third. And then the safety for our equipment comes last. Now, sometimes our equipment is worth more than the structure that we're trying to save, but that's sort of the system that we use is firefighters are always safety first. We have a safety officer and an accountability officer, who are frequently the same. The safety officer is usually the accountability officer, and one of the functions of the accountability officer is to monitor each firefighter and to monitor the length of time that they're in there. In the safety officer's opinion, they've been in there really long enough and they should be coming out, then he will call the incident commander to make sure that they know that we have some folks in there that are kind of getting low on air. Maybe they didn't notice they're getting low on air because they're busy and didn't see their gauges. The safety officer has complete and total authority over every other personnel on the fire scene, including the incident commander, if in the safety officer's opinion there's an issue that needs to be rectified. So the safety officer can stop the scene, regroup, get people from one place to another if necessary.
An incident commander has to make decisions without all the information you need to make a proper decision. In seconds, and it happens in seconds. This is not something that you can play out and say, well, you know what, if I do this, then this can happen. Those guys make a decision in seconds. If you're an incident commander and you went to a house fire and there's someone inside, is it a tenable environment? Can someone survive that? Are you going to risk possibly 2 firefighters' lives to go and get someone you know is probably not alive? Now, I don't envy incident commanders on some of these scenes where they have to make decisions that possibly could affect people not coming home. Like Ron's job, he wears it. A bad decision, he wears it. It's on him. Am I ready for that? Probably not. As a lieutenant, thankfully, I don't have to make those decisions yet. The officers group is, and incident commanders are quite aware of who they put in situations and where. I don't think they would ever put someone that they don't believe has a chance to be successful into an interior fire. That's reserved for the guys that they trust a lot. Practice, practice, practice. We train a lot. We do a lot of searches. We do tons and tons of stuff. Like every car accident you go to, those are decisions. There are no unimportant jobs in this field. Whether you're out there holding a stop sign or whether you're the one on the tools getting people out of cars. Without the people holding the stop sign, the guy can't use the tools to get people out of cars. They can't make room for an ambulance to park to get people off. You can't land the STARS helicopter without a landing zone officer. Everything here is important. Without one, the next step can't happen. So to train, it's basically real life scenarios. It's going to accidents and making those decisions.